Back in the steam era, Great Britain had loads of branch lines that served lightly populated rural communities, and a large number of them were closed under the so-called Beaching Acts of the 1960s. One of the 60s closures, although this one predated the actual beaching report, was the line from Little Summerford to Malmesbury, in the English county of Wiltshire, but we can still potter about on this line in Train Simulator. This is my 2 cents on the Malmesbury Branch add-on. This add-on was made by Just Trains and released on their website in 2016, but I've got the Steam version, released in July 2017. As for the price, the Steam version costs $15 New Zealand dollars or $19.18 USD at full price, while the version on Just Trains' website costs $14 US dollars or $22.83 NZD. The prices for both versions are a bit too steep for a route this short. We only get the little 3.75 mile long branch line from Little Summerford to Malmesbury with no intermediate stations. The line is mostly flat, apart from a steep 1 in 50 incline down from the main line outside Little Summerford. It takes around 10 minutes to complete a full run over the branch, and the speed limit is only 35 miles per hour. The Malmesbury branch first opened in 1877, and it originally continued down through Great Summerford Halt to meet the Great Western Main Line at Dauncey. In 1933, a spur was built to connect the branch to Little Summerford, on the main line to South Wales, and the section through Great Summerford Halt was closed. This route in Train Simulator is set in 1950, only 2 years after the formation of British Railways, and not long before BR discontinued passenger services to Malmesbury in 1951. The line survived a little while longer for freight trains, not closing completely until 1962. There are loads of good freeware routes out there, such as the Esthwaite branch by Robert McGregor, West of England Main Line by Golden Age Developments, and Wickham Railway and Joints Line Plus by Steam Sound Supreme. These routes are all longer than Little Summerford to Malmesbury, complete with, in a few cases, especially the West of England Main Line, better details to boot. To summarise my points on Malmesbury's value for money, they're selling so little for so much, yet you can get better routes for free. And here's a short scene from the Golden Age Developments route, with the Drummond M7 tank engine arriving at Seaton Junction. On the motive power scene, the steam version of the Malmesbury branch includes rolling stock that's mostly reused from the Riviera line in the 50s pack. The main engine used in default scenarios is the 5700 class pannier tank, and a while back I discovered that this Exeter to Kingswear version wasn't actually a new model that Dovetail built in 2015, but rather a spruced up version of the original RSC era model that comes with the Falmouth branch, released in 2010. Victory Works released their own GWR pannier tank pack in 2021, which includes the 5400, 5700, 6400, 7400 and 8750 classes. I prefer to use VW's version of the 5700 over the old Falmouth/Riviera models. Only one new item of rolling stock is supplied with the Malmesbury branch. This is the Diagram AA3 towed brake van, with the model depicting number 17501, the dedicated Malmesbury branch brake van for around 20 years after the mid-1930s. There's plenty of GWR locomotives and rolling stock available on Steam and third-party sites. Examples include the Small Prairies and pannier tanks by Victory Works, available on Steam, the 3000 or County Class 440 from Digital Traction, then 3031 Dean Single Class 422 and 4300 Class 260 from Caledonia Works. The original 5600 Class 062 tank from Victory Works, and his Small Prairies for that matter, come with a large selection of freight wagons, mostly in GWR colours, which makes them ideal for a branch line of this nature. You can also get some GWR coaches from Steam Marketplace, or Steam Sound Supreme, and these models were made by Matrix Trains. Another form of Great Western motive power that deserves a special mention is the steam rail motor, and I reviewed this thing back in March 2024. This bizarre contraption, essentially just a passenger coach with a tiny vertical boiler 040 steam locomotive built into one end, is ideal for short branch lines like Little Summerford to Malmesbury. The last item of motive power that I'll recommend for the Malmesbury branch, and other GWR routes for that matter, is the 1400 class 042 tank engine, famously the basis for Oliver, and this engine comes with the Diagram A31 auto coach. The track laying on Malmesbury is a noticeable improvement from Marsdenshire, one of Just Trains' older routes. Whenever I've driven on this branch, I haven't noticed any curves that look unrealistically tight, and small engines like the aforementioned GWR 1400 and 5700 class tank engines, or in this case, the 9400 class, will have no problem with running on this line. Due to a short platform at Malmesbury, passenger trains can't really be any longer than 2 or 3 coaches, although of course that depends on whether you're using 4-wheel or bogie coaches, and the head shunt at the terminus is only long enough for one small tank engine. It's interesting to note the presence of cattle loading docks at the head shunt, instead of being on their own dedicated siding. For the most part, I think the scenery on this route is good, although the quality takes a noticeable dive further away from the track in Malmesbury, mainly referring to the building assets. Unfortunately, the signal box at Little Summerford doesn't have any interior details, and neither do the station buildings. I've also noticed this weird issue on the bridges just outside Malmesbury, where they will disappear, as opposed to listen like thieves, depending on which way the camera is pointing. Some of the old trackside details that I like are the crossing keeper's house at Kingsmead Crossing, this old wagon body in the yards at both ends of the line, and the Malmesbury goods shed, which also has 2 cranes inside. I also like the look of Malmesbury's engine shed and the adjacent coal and water facilities for steam locomotives, although I don't think the shed doors are animated. In any case, the shed's not very big, and can only accommodate 1 or 2 small locomotives. This one is another 9400 class pannier tank. Now, in all honesty, I still like pottering about on the Malmesbury branch from time to time. Although the route has charming scenery and a decent amount of well-modelled custom assets, it is simply too expensive for what you get. It still begs the question as to why such a short route is so expensive in the first place, especially alongside the existence of the freeware West of England main line that I mentioned earlier. I can only recommend the Malmesbury branch if you can get it at a sizable discount.